guys. Welcome back to Mindful of Madness, a podcast about art and the artistic process. I'm your host, Andrew Ingram, comedian, writer, reader of books, I guess. I started this show because I wanted to talk to my talented friends about the things they make, and I'm really excited about today's guest. Kevin Pounds is a rock star. You may not have heard of him or his band, The Short Term, yet, but if there's any justice in this world at all, they're gonna be big. For now, you can find them on Facebook and YouTube, but keep an eye out for literally anything they do. I am, unfortunately, required by internet law to tell you about my projects as well. I have a comedy album called This Was a Bad Idea. You can find that all the places comedy albums stream online. I even think it's on, like, Pono, if Pono's still a thing, Neil Young's thing. You can also follow me on Instagram at AndrewIngram88 or on Twitter at DrewJokerIngram. And as always, rate, review, and subscribe to the show. But you know what? Fuck that. Just tell somebody about it. Preferably somebody who likes you. But I guess if you start shouting, go listen to Mindful of Madness in the middle of a street fight, that'd be pretty cool. Might confuse your enemies. Anyway, that's enough. I've recorded so many of these guys. I'm so tired. Let's get into Mindful of Madness, episode 6 with Kevin Pounds. Full of Madness, the podcast. Yay! I'm your host, Andrew Ingram, and with me this week is a guitarist, singer, songwriter, great dude, chill bro, Kevin Pounds, everybody. Say hi, Kevin.
How you guys doing tonight? As if you can answer back.
Yeah, they can. We just won't know. And that's all that really matters. So how's life been last few months for you? We're still in the depths of quarantine. As if you're listening to this and you're out of it, lucky fucking you. Good on ya.
I don't know. I guess to answer that question, like, we're at a point in time where it feels like everything is going on all at once, but at the same time, nothing is happening. Like, it's I feel stagnant, I guess you could say, without playing shows and going out and performing. It's been a weird past 4 months now?
4 months since March, so whatever that, it's July now.
Whatever it is,
it's been almost exactly 4 months, I think, since I went into social distancing. So, and guys, Kevin works with a lot of people. He's in the service industry, so he's wearing a mask on mic. Hopefully it comes through, and if not, we're still putting the episode out because I don't waste content, mainly because I'm lazy. So
I'm sorry for being so essential, man.
Just an essential employee. We're not gonna say where you work, are we? Like,
does it really matter?
No, people don't need to know. You are essential to the economy of Colorado, though, and let's leave it at that.
Fair.
So, like I said, you're a singer, guitarist, songwriter. Do you put any above the others, or what's kind of like your main focus?
And I guess I could say the guitar. I mean, I've been doing it the longest. It's what really, like, brought me into that world, I guess. So
yeah,
it's kind of hard to pick and choose, though, at the same time.
And I should say, Kevin's got a great band called The Short Term, and formerly of Tie-Dye Leopard. We had Will Louth on here to talk about the drums a few weeks ago, and he nothing but nice things to say about you. So that's good. You guys not playing music as much together anymore, but still really good friends.
Yeah, I mean, we work together, so.
Yeah, that would be awkward. um, yeah, and you came out from Ohio together. You guys kind of. Did you grow up together or did you meet after?
No, we actually met through a mutual friend. I was looking for new bandmates, and Will was like the only available drummer in Ohio at the time, I
Yeah.
guess.
Worked
So,
out. He's a really good drummer.
yeah, I was not disappointed, but
Yeah. And so I mean, if you listen to the Will episode, we did talk about how Tie Dye Leopard was kind of a blues rock garage rock band. But do you want to talk about like kind of your style a little bit? What kind of music you typically play?
man, if I'm keeping it vague, I just try and play rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, there's definitely plenty of indie and punk influences in there.
Yeah.
I love folk music, honestly. Like Bob Dylan is still like top tier to me. He's number one. Like,
Well,
so,
it's hard to find anybody who likes music that doesn't appreciate Bob Dylan at the very least. Like, not if you're shitting on Bob Dylan, you're doing it to be interesting. Stop.
I'll take that.
Yeah.
But he's really the reason why I started writing songs, I think.
Yeah.
So overall,
Yeah. So as like a songwriter, probably your biggest influence. Who would you say is your like guitar guy?
my guitar guy, that changes like every month.
Yeah.
I guess my entire first year I spent just sounding out Nirvana songs, honestly.
Yeah.
So I guess in a way, Kurt Cobain taught me how to play guitar in an odd sense.
Yeah.
But
I can play the verse part of "Come As You Are" because it's two strings. Uh, I'm very bad at music, but
but I think Hendrix is the reason why I wanted to play guitar. But obviously, I
yeah,
was not doing any of that the first year.
yeah,
So.
yeah. Well, and I do want to say you're one of my favorite times watching you guys play was when you played Territorial Pissing at that show in Manitou. That was really fun. I think it might have shredded your voice a little bit by the end, but
You know, I don't feel like I've done my job unless I've fucked up my throat by the end of the set. Like,
that's gonna be a problem. You start touring.
oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah.
You know, I love watching you play. You're probably one of the more dynamic performers that actually, you know, comes out and works. You know, those all act open mics, and you know, you're a guy who puts just about everything into every performance, whether there's two people there or 200. You know, so how do you keep that energy up, or is it just you focusing on what you're doing up there versus what's happening in the room, or are you trying
Honestly,
to...
I'm usually not focusing at all. I'm just
Yeah.
kind of just going up there, doing whatever feels right at that moment, and
Yeah.
just letting it fly.
Well, it always looks like you're working really hard. You know?
Oh, don't get me wrong, it's incredibly physical, and like
Yeah.
I walk off stage with bruises I don't even remember getting. Like, just
Do you
But,
play like that at home?
uh, I practice that way. In a
Yeah.
sense. But actually, just in my bedroom, I mean, that's rare. I'm not trying to destroy my room.
Yeah, that would be I'm just picturing just destroying your house every day. Your mom finishes putting up the final picture back up on the wall and is, oh, time for Kevin to practice again. Destroy the whole house. When it comes to that physicality, is that just natural to you, or is there someone that, you know, inspired that kind of playing style? Because you are a very physical guitar player. Is it just watching punk rock stuff, or is it...
In a sense, yeah. I mean, so I used to stand completely still because I just overthought it. Like, I would just go up there and kind of freeze up. But it just got to the point where I realized I had to move in some way, but I cannot dance. So rather than stand there, the option was throw myself everywhere. I I kind of think of it as like Elvis Presley on ketamine.
Yeah, maybe a little less hip shaking, but you're a skinny guy, so probably for the best. Yeah, I mean, you throwing yourself around is accurate. You're all over the place. Did that take? So, do you think that moving around came with learning your instrument better, or being more comfortable with performing?
I would say more being more comfortable with performing
Yeah.
because as far as learning my instrument better, like I don't really see myself as like that technical of a guitar player. I mean, I'm
I
a
mean,
decent rhythm player. I just
you're a pretty good guitar player, my friend. I mean, you might not be Hendrix, but you're really good.
I have fun.
Yeah. Yeah. What? So Dylan inspired you to write. Hendrix inspired you to play, and Nirvana was kind of your pathway to learning the instrument. But what kind of music were you listening to before you started? Did you just start playing the type of music you listen to, or has your taste changed as you've become more proficient?
I mean, it's kind of yes to all of it for the most
Mm-hmm.
part. Well, yes and no. I mean, as far as playing what I listen to, like, yeah, I was listening to Nirvana a lot when I like started playing. Growing up, I did listen to a lot of Hendrix, Led Zeppelin. Uh, I grew up in the Midwest, so there was just a lot of classic rock
Oh
involved.
yeah.
So
Oh
it's just,
yeah.
uh,
Yeah.
then
ACDC every hour on the
yeah,
hour
pretty
all the
much.
time.
Like even a lot of Metallica too.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually,
Well, it's
Pink Floyd was actually one of my favorite bands growing up too, and
yeah.
I always kind of wanted to be able to achieve the sounds of like David Gilmour, or, like,
Mm-hmm.
in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, you've got a little more fuzz on your guitar most of the time, but you've played. I've heard you play some Pink Floyd tunes. I think you played "Wish You Were Here" at Zodiac a few times, haven't you?
I I know I've played Fearless there.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
definitely played Fearless. I don't touch Floyd much. I don't feel like I can do it justice for the most
It's
part. It takes a lot.
it's a very specific sound, and like especially with like say the tunes on the wall, and even not just that, but like there was an appreciation for disco in their music that I don't think people recognize or give credence
Well, it's
to.
definitely there and Run Like Hell. That's for
Yeah, yeah.
sure.
Well, or I mean, fucking, it's in there in the another brick in the wall. It's kind of it's everywhere on that album, and I think pretty much anything post maybe 1975 has some of that pop influence, especially on Gilmore's guitar.
Maybe with the
Just
exception of Animals, I would
sure.
say.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, well, Animals was somehow the first Pink Floyd album I ever had.
it's my favorite
Yeah,
album. It's
I don't listen to it as much anymore, but in high school, I was like, yeah, Animals, because it's the one I had. I'm probably less into their concept stuff now than I was back then. I think my appreciation for pop music kind of grew after high school, but or I got more into punk, and so the longer songs don't have as much appeal to me anymore. But Animals is a cool record, and what they're doing with their instruments was very next level for the time.
even just the production of it, like especially how they can have like a voice fade into a saxophone the way they're doing it.
Yeah,
Just,
yeah,
but
yeah.
as far as picking up on influences while playing and everything, like after I started playing, I did start searching for more sounds, I guess, and just trying to like keep my mind open to newer music. Started getting really deep into Blur, actually. Like
Mm-hmm.
Graham Coxon has been a huge influence as I started playing. Mick Jones of the Clash as well.
Yeah.
Uh, was
I
really
I fucking love Mick Jones. Cool dude. He's just a cool dude. Not the most technical player, but a
but he
rad
knew
bro.
exactly what to do with what he had. Either
Mm-hmm.
way, it's
Mm-hmm.
just
Yeah, I just watched that Joe Strummer documentary on Amazon.
didn't know there was one, but I'm gonna have to watch that.
Yeah, it's really good. I think there are a couple Clash documentaries on there. One's about the Clash and one specifically about Joe Strummer. But like I really like the Mescaleros album. I think that's it. It was cool to see Joe Strummer come back and do
Yeah,
something
it's a shame
else.
he died when he did, because like you really kind
Hmm.
of get the feeling that could have went somewhere, like in a sense, like it
Yeah,
could have been a lot more too.
yeah. I think I got at least from the documentary, and there's a cool podcast that Chuck D narrated about the Clash on Spotify. But I got the sense Joe Strummer's a hard guy to work with, um, and I think he maybe recognized that as much as anybody else. I think he's maybe more self-aware of his own causticness than most other like quote unquote genius musicians. But I think when whenever like the stars align to get him with the right musicians at the right time, fucking magic happened, and like his awareness on that Mescaleros album of what was going on in music at the time, that like the rave scene happening, which he had gotten involved in, and the way punk had developed, and then finally like being more maybe even having more control over how the Western influences in the music he liked, um, because there were definite Western influences on the Clash's later stuff, but like I feel like that Mescaleros album brought those influences in a more honest way, than say Sandinista. Um, all right, we can stop talking about Joe Strummer now. Let's keep.
Do we have to
Do we have to?
though?
I've been talking for long enough. I just really like that documentary, and I haven't had anybody to talk to about it. Um, yeah. What about your singing style? Because you do look, and I mean this in the best way possible. You look like you sound like you're in a Britpop band, uh, and you sound like a 45-year-old blues singer. um, so how did you discover that, and what kind of led you to like making the type of vocal music that you make?
Man, honestly, I started singing pretty late in life. I feel like I was about 16. Honestly, I was trying to impress like my future girlfriend at the time,
Yeah.
and so I just started learning like Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen and
Mm.
like We're Going to Be Friends by the White Stripes, which
I would really like to hear your version of that because your voice is like the opposite of Jack White's.
but man, it's hard to put my finger on it, like as far as like what influenced my vocal style. I do know I've always wanted to sing soul music,
Mm-hmm.
believe it or not. Like I've always wanted to sing like Ray Charles or Sam Cooke, or
Yeah.
it just a little out of my reach. So I feel like the blues thing is kind of the end
Yeah.
result of that.
I
Like,
think
I'm
I think you could do if you play up the guitar angle and you amped up a Ray Charles song to 11. I think everybody would be pretty happy with how it came out.
I mean, I used to do some Ray Charles songs like as a teenager, and like
Yeah,
I got usually some good reception on it. But
yeah. Ray Charles is awesome too. I fucking love Ray Charles. uh,
but I did fall pretty deep into blues music. You know, I'm a
mhm.
huge Howlin' Wolf fan. Lightning Hopkins, Muddy Waters, basically anybody on Chess Records for that
Oh
matter. Like
yeah,
just
yeah, yeah. Chess had some cool stuff. That I saw Buddy Guy live one time, and that was awesome. Like I've seen Rush, I've seen I saw Cage the Elephant in like a tiny club right after that first album dropped, and they were like as hot as they were ever gonna get. Um, but Buddy Guy is probably the best show I've ever been to. Uh, just because he's been doing it for 8,000 years and just
people just kind of see him as Hendrix before Hendrix. You know, he
yeah,
was that wild showman on stage.
yeah. I mean his
Incendiary.
his guitarist had the spinning guitars, the ZZ Top spinning guitars, uh, and he just like he was still having fun, which is amazing. You know, a guy who's probably been screwed over how many times in his career. You know, I guess he was kind of that second wave of the blues, but
That Chicago blues.
that
Style,
Chicago
definitely.
blues, yeah, yeah. But I mean,
Which, Magic Sam, another one.
yeah,
But,
yeah. He talked about you know, learning from Muddy Waters more than anything else. You know, all he wanted to do was just impress Muddy Waters. Um, so what? Let's talk about like current music now. What are some of the things you're enjoying at the moment?
I've been listening to a lot of Dead Kennedys and a lot of Idols lately. Honestly, like
Fucking love Idols. I was talking with Will about Idols. They're awesome.
it's a it's refreshing to see like such a vocal band coming
Yeah.
out lately. Honestly, I haven't really felt that for a band in a while.
Yeah. And I feel like they're not strictly speaking a punk band. You know, they're kind of like a post hard in a way like post hardcore, but like there's that very like Cockney influence on it, you know.
I mean, lyrically, I do get like kind of a Clash vibe from them. Honestly,
A little
like,
bit, yeah, yeah. Um but there's not I made this stupid, you know, I want it to be like a thing in stand up, but stand up's not really happening now, but how like I thought punk rock was going to change the world, and it wound up being K-pop. You know, doing the Lord's work and and fighting power structures and stuff. But Idols are a band where it's like if everybody listened to these guys and Run the Jewels, the world would be a better place. You know. Yeah, just and I love the album. Their last album title was "Joy as an Active."
Joy as an act of resistance.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it's a mission statement. You know, it's like everything sucks. The world is corrupt. Be happy because fuck them. Is like it's kind of a beautiful sentiment and just encapsulates everything that band is about. Sorry,
I mean, oh no, I mean the opening track to that album is perfect for it. Yeah, Colossus, it's just
I'm laughing because I was telling Charlotte about that band, our friend Charlotte, who we're gonna have to have on the podcast very soon because, boy, it's been a sausage fest so far, and I am aware of that, guys. But Charlotte's a great musician. I was telling her about Idols, and we were hanging out, and then she said, "Well, we were gonna play a game or something. You're just like, well, let me put on that band you were talking about, and I'm like, I don't know if that's the best idea. And she's like, no, I'll just put it on shuffle. It'll be great. And then Colossus was the first song to come on. And it's like, as much as I love this band, that particular song is like almost what if Jim Morrison didn't suck. Like, like it's a it reminds me of the end, or one of those longer Doors songs, but less wanky. it,
It definitely has a build to it.
yeah,
I mean,
and it's like, this isn't the music you want to listen to while you're playing Parcheesi or whatever. I mean, maybe Danny Nedelko or something, but not Colossus. um but yes, that I had just like seen a reference to them on a blog or something, and then went and looked them up on YouTube first, and they had a live, like, in studio with them at some radio station, and that was the first song they played, and I was like, oh, is this my new favorite band? Because I think it might be.
I first saw them. I first saw their NPR Tiny Desk. Actually,
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they opened it with a "Never Fight a Man with a Bird."
Yeah.
And
I love that song too.
Hearing them acoustically first, it was strange to actually jump into their electric shit after that.
Yeah. How many guitarists do they have? Like 3 guitarists?
Two?
Two?
They have 2.
Yeah, they have 2, and their singer is singing. Yeah, okay. So it's a 5-piece. Yeah. Let's talk about the short term, though. Let's talk about. I know we're in quarantine. People are kind of scattered to the 4 corners, but talk to me about your band.
Really, not too much to talk about right now. But,
not too much
overall,
for anybody to talk about right now, but that's okay.
We've been trying to stay busy working on an EP. Just 4 songs we selected of ours to try and get ready to put out here soon. I mean,
yeah.
Obviously, no shows going on. I should do more live streaming, I suppose, online, but
there's only so much of it you can do before people are like, yeah, I get it. Like, you're great, but
I've done it twice since this has started, and
it's like you could do something once a week probably, and that'd be fine. I think people would be into it. I always like seeing you play.
I suppose I'm just not trying to display myself with nothing new to display.
Yeah.
It's
Have you been feeling that kind of quarantine, so like the lockdown writer's block? I feel like a lot of us are.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said earlier, like when we started, like, it's been a pretty stagnant time overall. I mean, it's weird. There is so much going on in the world right now, but it's hard to write when you're not out there experiencing anything really for yourself.
Yeah. Well, and so much of it going on right now. I mean, I was talking with John Brown about this, but like with comedy, I have no interest in being a white guy talking about Black Lives Matter. Like, not because I don't support it, but because there's so many other voices to elevate right now. It's not my fucking place, And I feel like probably there's some truth to that with music as well. You're a white boy singing the blues. Yeah. Seems like maybe there'd be some pandering there.
It is a difficult topic to touch up on, that's for sure. I mean, you want to be an ally, you want to speak your voice, but you want to make sure it's coming from the right place.
Yeah, exactly. And I'd like to think maybe a little harder for comedians than musicians, but it is it's a rough area to touch on in art when you're not the one experiencing oppression. I just feel like there are so many talented people within the black community who deserve to have their voices heard on the issue before I'm out here. Well, let me tell you about what I think. But do you, it's I've definitely felt the same stagnation with comedy for sure. I feel like I was doing a lot of like prose writing and stuff at the beginning of this, and then it got harder, and now I'm actively trying to be more proactive with my comedy writing. Do you think do you think if you like buckled down and tried to make yourself work, you could start producing more, or do you think that's just something that's going to happen naturally?
For me, it's always had to happen naturally.
Yeah.
I've There's been plenty of times in my life where I would go like months without writing a song, and I would sit down and try and force it, but the end result always just felt incredibly contrived, and I would just toss it
Yeah.
in the long run. Like,
Yeah. Do you think that's something that's going to change the longer you do it? I mean, look, you're a very talented guy, but you're also 24, right?
I'm about to be 26.
About to be 26, but you're still a young guy. I didn't start comedy till I was 26, 27. You know, the you're still a young dude. There's still more you can kind of learn. What do you think that's gonna change as you get older, or do you think that's just kind of who you are?
I hope it changes.
Yeah.
Honestly. uh, I feel like my output's kind of less than what it used to be, but
Mm-hmm.
I think the quality is better overall.
Yeah.
I mean, I can acknowledge I do think I am getting better at it, but as far as just pumping them out,
Right.
I'm not close to that point. I mean, just
Yeah, it's interesting watching, so many musicians and bands, and that we love and respect. But I mean, when Kurt Cobain was 25 was the height of Nirvana, but that's not really what music is anymore. You get your Billie Eilishes and stuff, but I mean, how old's Lizzo? She's in her mid 30s, I think.
well, even look at idols.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
they're definitely some. I mean, they've been doing it for a long time, but it took them forever to actually find their. I don't know. I was going to do air quotes, but sound.
Yeah, their niche, their following.
And I don't know. I feel like you're seeing more and more in that. Like even Days and Days just got signed to their first major label.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like for a long time, raw talent and a pretty face is what got you success, but
At least since MTV.
at least since MTV. And yeah, well, right, you did have Genesis. I mean, there are a lot of bands that John Denver would never have had a career in the '80s, but the I feel like as markets get more and more niche, people care less and less about that stuff. I suppose depending on the market you're in, there's always going to be,
Image is always going to be important to that sense, but
right. But you've got to Run the Jewels, probably the coolest band in the world right now. Or if you're a 32-year-old white guy, Run the Jewels is the coolest band in the world right now. And those guys are like 45. They're 45-year-old rappers who grinded it out on their own and had moderate success for decades before they came together and put out some of the most important albums in
recent memory.
And whether you're into hip hop or not, you have to acknowledge that those guys are doing something really special and important. If you're a 32-year-old white guy, again, we're talking about niches here, but So I think some of that has definitely changed from the 80s and 90s and even the early 2000s. Like there's more time to grow as an artist, and there's less value put on that youth and energy that was so important to rock and roll when it first started. Um, and I don't remember where I was going this, other than you're a young guy and you still got lots of time to build what you're doing. Are you working with the other guys in the band at all right now, or is it
No.
no?
Joe Briggs is back in Ohio. He has been for a few weeks now.
Yeah.
He's just working, trying to get his money up.
Yeah.
Timone's Timone and I, we haven't really talked as much as I would like
Yeah.
to lately, but he's just kind of been jamming at his house. Like we've kind of just been keeping our distance, like most people right now.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you got to be careful. I appreciate you coming over. It
Yeah.
is.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. It is hard to. It's hard to know what the right thing to do is, because you can't cut yourself off from society completely, but we do have to be really careful. I mean, people are dying out there. You gotta have respect for this time in history, and obviously a lot of people don't. I spend probably 3 hours a day on social media just mad at people who aren't taking this seriously.
Just about, yeah. I mean, no, this is a time where like you really do have to be responsible, and honestly, feel like we're seeing a lot of the worst aspects of humanity coming out right now, in a sense. I mean,
yeah. Well, and it's just pettiness and selfishness coming out, but you have to make sacrifices for the rest of humanity. You just have to. You can't be a selfish asshole. But what has you're not super thrilled with the way productivity's going, but you are still playing, right? Like you're still working.
Actually, I've been putting a lot of time into learning keyboards.
Really?
Since I started.
That's cool. What
Yeah.
I don't know that much about keys, but like, what are you working with?
Literally just a 25 key MIDI keyboard.
Yeah.
There's a piano upstairs I'll go mess around on whenever nobody's home, but for the most part, I'm just trying to actually learn all the chords and positions and everything. And
Okay. Is that kind of easier to learn on your own since you already play guitar?
honestly, it feels kind of left-handed to me.
Oh,
Keyboard.
okay.
I mean, I feel like I do have a better sense of like scales and everything because I already knew guitar, but I'm used to keeping rhythm with my right hand, strumming with a guitar. I feel like on piano, a lot of it is on the left because those are where all the bass notes are.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just.
Do you think you're gonna incorporate that stuff into live stuff, or do you think it's just gonna help with writing?
It's definitely been helping with writing. Like working on the EP, I have been putting some keyboard stuff into the background
Nice.
and just synth sounds, basically. Nothing too intricate,
Yeah.
but it's filling space.
It's
But
it's a cool thing. I mean, I personally am a fan of. I'm not the biggest fan of 80s type synths, dominating a rock and roll track, but I do like, honest to goodness piano on a rock and roll song. What have you been working with effects as well, or are you just kind of playing it straight?
on the keyboard,
Yeah.
well, I'm using like computer software, so there's a lot of built-in sounds I've been using. I've been
Okay.
playing with a lot of Mellotron effects,
Okay.
like choirs. And,
Oh, nice,
flutes.
nice.
But honestly, I find myself on like a Fender Rhodes setting more often than not.
I don't know what that means.
Fender Rhodes was a piano that came out like in the 60s and 70s.
Okay.
It It was actually kind of like a marimba in a way. Like it was hammers hitting tuned pieces of metal.
Oh,
And
okay, okay.
yeah, you've definitely heard it on a lot of recordings,
Yeah.
especially like Motown stuff. Like
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of a more
It's not like a Wurlitzer. Do you know what that is? Like Ray Charles
yeah,
played one of those a lot.
yeah, it's more of a metallic sound than like a traditional piano.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. What tracks have you been throwing those on?
The Fender Rhodes sounds. Scarlett says. Actually,
Nice,
I've been trying
nice.
to redo that one.
Yeah.
Get it to a better
Um
point.
yeah, we can talk about it now. I'd like to put one of your tracks at the beginning so people kind of have a feeling for how you guys sound. We're not going to put this out for a couple months, so I'm not going to start putting this out until August, and so you'll probably come out late September. But yeah, if you have a track finished or anything you're comfortable sharing, let me know, and we'll.
I should be at that point soon.
Okay,
overall.
good.
I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of fine tuning I've been doing, but overall, I'm close.
Yeah, yeah. It's just taking time. How do you like the production aspect of putting stuff out? Is that enjoyable to you, or is it just kind of a necessary evil?
It's tedious as you're doing it,
Mm-hmm.
but man, when you get it right, it's like the best feeling in the world. Honestly,
right,
like,
right. It's the the only thing I can equate it to really is maybe like fine tuning a joke. You know, like you might you might tweak a song after you've been out playing it live for a while, but once you have a song written, it's written. With jokes, you've got to go out with a half finished product and just keep
just hope you get the timing right.
tightening it.
Okay.
And sometimes it gets longer, usually it gets shorter. You know, something that was 3 minutes is suddenly a minute and a half long, or 30 seconds, and you're like, god damn it, I thought it was a whole thing. But that's, I imagine it's probably similar to video editing, but I hate video editing, so I can't imagine producing music that sounds, like you said, tedious. Yeah, do you think that's something you'll kind of keep doing for yourself in the future, or do you think that's if you had the opportunity to work with a label, would you be excited for somebody else to take the reins there?
I mean, I definitely always want to have a say in like the production of the of the songs
Mm-hmm.
and the work in that aspect. Well, in that sense, but if somebody knows what they're doing more than I am, then they should take the reins.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. What kind of software are you using?
PreSonus Studio 1.5 actually just came out. I got the professional version of that.
Nice.
And
It sets you back any, or is it a pretty reasonable program?
price wise,
Yeah.
I got it on so I bought the fourth version a couple months ago on sale for about $210.
Yeah.
And because I bought it like so close to the new version being released, they just upgraded me for free.
Oh, that's that's really nice. A lot of programs, a lot of companies would have just fucked you there. But that's
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I was pretty relieved on
Yeah.
that.
It's like-
I've been using Studio One since I was probably 16, honestly. Since
Yeah.
it came out, at least.
Are you are you comfortable producing at this point? Do you understand it?
I'm still learning a lot, but I'd say I'm overall pretty comfortable. It's the engineering aspect I probably know the most of. Like I can mic a kit like really well.
Yeah.
Or mic placement, I guess I should say.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
The actual recording aspect I'm good at, but mixing, there's some work that needs to be done.
Yeah, that was the most stressful part. I had Soda, who was a previous guest on the podcast and a good friend of ours, record my album, but it was all done at the gallery. You were there. I mean, it was all done at the gallery below. You brought a sign, actually.
Did not need to use the sign though.
No, that's true. It was God. That was a good. Like, not just ignoring my set. That was one of the best nights of comedy I've ever been a part of. It was so much
George's
fun.
oatmeal bit was gold.
Yeah, you were on the floor. You were on the literal floor. We gotta get. It's one of those things. I want George to like record a version for the internet, but I don't know if it'll translate, and I feel like it has to be done in a live setting.
You definitely need that crowd reaction.
Yeah, because it's so bizarre, but I feel like having a bunch of cameras around to capture it would also kind of ruin the magic. It may just be something that you got to be in the room to see. I don't know, but it's so funny. George Wagner, I'm sure I'll have him on the podcast soon. He's a great comedian. Weirdest bit I've just about ever seen live, and destroyed Kevin. Destroyed him. Like, were you sore the next day from the?
I'm convinced he wrote the joke solely for me.
Yeah, it was everybody loved that joke. To the point where Caesar, who is the next comic, had to remind people what stand-up comedy was supposed to look like. But Kevin specifically maybe loved that joke more than anyone in the world. And it's a weird visual bit where he's making oatmeal and being a madman, because that's what George does. But anyway, back to recording that. I feel like, I mean, Soda's pretty new to production, and I don't know a goddamn thing, So it did come out sounding very much like a punk rock record. We forgot to turn off a goddamn fan. We like idiots, So for a few, there are a few tracks, especially in the middle of the set, where I kind of tell a longer, more personal story, where there's not laughs every 15 seconds, where, oh yeah, there's a fan, and no amount of jigging with the recording after the fact was completely going to hide that. But I'm very proud of it, and I think Soda did a great job. But there's so much to learn. What do you strike me as a guy who at some point is going to get very into live recording. Do you think that's something you guys are going to do? Not necessarily in front of a crowd, but like playing a track so that it just sounds like what you guys sound like live.
I'm definitely, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I've already played around with that a lot in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Even back with Tie-Dye Leopard, like one of the last songs we put up was a version of Rising Sun Blues, and it was literally just me, Will, just doing our thing.
Yeah,
Nothing
that's
added.
Yeah, and you did the original version, right? You didn't do the Animals arrangement.
I used Dylan's lyrics.
Yeah. And Dylan was using, because nobody knows who wrote that song, right?
I believe the melody was it Dave Van Ron? No,
I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, I've dug it because it's a classic. I've dug into it a little bit, but I don't know.
It's a traditional song. They don't know who actually wrote the lyrics.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody has their take on it, I suppose.
Right. Dylan's version is good, and the lyrics, I probably prefer the lyrics in his version. I mean, but the Animals version the first time you hear that when you're 15 or 16 years old is like, this is what music is, man.
Well, even Dylan said his reaction to that song when he first heard it, he jumped out of his car yelling.
Yeah, like, holy shit. Yeah, that was on his first album, right? That was mostly covers.
Yeah,
And he just
he had one.
He had
original.
the last song was an original, I think. It was like talking
just
New
a
York
talking,
or
yeah.
talking New York or something. Yeah, I remember buying that album. It was like, this is Dylan's first album, man. This is what it's all about. It's like, oh, it's all covers. All right. Didn't see that coming. But, um,
I mean, he was only 20 years old in that first
oh,
album.
God. And he looks like he's 16 on the cover. You know, he looks like a child. But very good. He's Bob Dylan. Very good, guys. If you haven't checked out Bob Dylan before, I don't know. I mean, maybe give him a spin. It's, you know, certainly worth your time. Who was your other who's the other band you're getting real into these days? You said Idols and
I've been listening to Dead Kennedys a lot.
Dead
lately.
Kennedys. Yes.
Been listening to a lot of Kendrick Lamar lately too.
Really,
honestly.
I haven't gotten super into Kendrick yet, so sell me on him.
Well, just given the times, it felt really appropriate
Yeah.
overall. But I've been a fan for a long time. I mean, To Pimp a Butterfly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he packs a lot of great influences into that album. I mean,
Yeah, I've listened to the album. I feel like I will be the first to admit I am a marginal hip hop fan at best. I just didn't grow. I grew up in South America. I didn't have the hip hop influences that most kids growing up in the States had at the same time. Plus, it was the mid '90s. I mean, Eminem's great and everything, but I don't care for 50 Cent. I don't care for, and this could get me in a lot of trouble. I don't care for Kanye's production. I just don't. And I know it's supposed to be genius, but he was producing everything. I didn't particularly like it. I like live drums and stuff on my hip hop, and so I just didn't get into hip hop, and so I feel like I'm deficient. So, you know, Kendrick Lamar isn't somebody I've been able to like get my head around, I think, yet.
I've just always respected how he used his voice.
Mm-hmm.
Period. I mean, he's always really clear on his stances.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
honestly, he just has an amazing insight.
Yeah, everything I've read about him seems really cool. You know, he's like a woke guy who's a nerd, but also, you know, like very charismatic. And he was like a backpack rapper guy, right? Like he kind of did everything on his own at first, right?
I really can't speak on that, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I'll give him another shot. Kendrick Lamar, everybody. Maybe you've heard of him.
And I guess while we're in that genre, Childish Gambino too.
Yeah. I have Closer My Love on vinyl over there because I found it for $10. Do you have a record player?
I don't even think it works anymore.
No.
honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say you can take a look and borrow something if you want. Now, oh yeah, guys, this is the first time we've actually recorded at my house. I've gone to everybody else so far. But yeah, let's see. We're coming up on an hour, so let's there's something I like to talk about every episode, mainly because it's gauche and mainly because artists aren't good at it. But I want to talk about money, and art, and kind of your thoughts on how to make a living doing what we do. Is that even possible? Is it something you're interested in? Because I mean, and Will and I kind of sucked your dick for like 10 minutes on the episode we did together about how you're a guy who could be a rock star. Like, legitimately, you have the talent, you have the looks and the skills and the weird mental drive to make music that could probably, you know, more than maybe a lot of our friends, make a living doing this. But is that something you really care about?
I mean, if I could just get by doing something I love, you know, that would be the dream, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah. You know, what do you think your goal is monetarily with this stuff?
With recent developments, it's hard to say. Honestly,
Yeah.
I mean, you know, I kind of came to the realization I could get by doing it, street performing in Nashville one day. Like within like an hour, I'd already made like $35. I'm like, well, that's more than I'm making at my minimum wage job.
Yeah,
So it's,
yeah. Yeah, I mean, would that be like? Would you just be cool with that, or I mean, do you? I mean, in a world post Corona, post social distancing, where we can do shows responsibly. I mean, do you want to tour? Do you want to get signed and quote unquote sit at the big boys table?
I definitely would love the tour.
Yeah,
Traveling's always been a dream of mine, and it's always been something I've been trying to work towards. Honestly,
yeah.
I mean, that was the whole reason why I built this tiny house before. But now I'm trying to sell that, get a van, so I can just.
Wait, hold on. We were talking, like texting back and forth, and you said something about a tiny house, but I didn't pursue. What the fuck is going on with this tiny house?
What do you mean?
You built a tiny house?
Over the past couple of years, yeah,
Okay.
I built a shell for one that I was gonna live in, but realized it's not my best option.
Okay.
So now I'm just trying to get a larger vehicle, something that I could actually stay active in and travel.
Just travel and play and live out of a camper or
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
All right, that's vagabond lifestyle. Yeah, what down the line, do you have plans to grow an audience, to get your stuff out there more to a wider group of people?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, I've always had ambitions to do so, but plans they fall through.
Yeah. Yeah, they do.
I mean, that was kind of Will and I's goal when we came out here. We
Mhm.
saw an area that was like booming with population and
Mhm.
well, income.
Yeah.
and,
Yeah,
and we were gonna try our hand in Denver, but things don't always work out.
Yeah, I mean, you guys did play up there a few times, and you're as good as any band in Denver. I mean,
And honestly, we had a pretty busy schedule booked up until this happened.
Yeah.
Like, I lost a lot of shows once we went into a quarantine.
Yeah. Have you gotten any offers for shows now? Because as things are opening up, I've started getting. I've got a couple gigs on the book for socially distanced comedy shows, and I'm very nervous. I haven't done them yet. I'm very nervous.
From legitimate shows from like venues, no. I've had friends try and come to me to do like house shows or everything, but overall, I'm just waiting until it seems like the right time. I mean,
yeah.
Even earlier, it's personal. Like you want to be responsible, but it's just doesn't seem like a good look at the moment either. When we were talking about how image still is
Yeah,
important,
yeah,
it's just,
yeah. It is. I mean, and
nobody wants to be the first one appearing to be putting people at risk.
yeah, yeah. And I would be less worried about it if I thought the people who were coming out to shows were being responsible themselves. That like you as the performer can wear your mask everywhere, can switch out microphones with any other performers, can, keep yourself from breathing on people as much as possible. But at the end of the day, the people who are coming out to shows may not be taking the same precautions, and
I mean, I miss performing incredibly. Like, it was a huge part of my life, but as it stands right now, I don't want to put anybody at risk.
Yeah. I'm nervous, and I'm I am in a bit of a moral quandary. I've said yes to these shows. I'm gonna do these shows, and unless they get canceled, which they could get canceled. And I don't know if they very well could be the wrong thing to do, and I'm gonna feel really bad if they are. But it's it's a shit sandwich of a situation. I really hope I'm not endangering people. But we'll see at the end of the day. There I am on record saying I'm doing shows in the pandemic. You are welcome to cancel me. I'm not gonna fight it. Um, yeah, man. Well, let's see. And I'm trying to think if I have any more. What? How do you feel? You're not a guy who produces shows a lot. You. I think you've probably done it a few times. This is less a thing maybe for musicians than comedians are always producing shows. We're finding spots and producing shows, but mostly musicians kind of work directly with venue bookers, right? For the most part.
Yeah, I mean, usually it is like a booking inquiry email type thing. And
Yeah. Are are you reaching out to people more, or are they reaching out to you?
it's about half and half at the
Yeah.
moment. I mean, sometimes if I see like there's a show coming up in the area, like Joe Briggs, or
Mm-hmm.
I will just send out a message like, "Hey, we think we'll be a great fit." But oftentimes when it's places like Bar K or the Zodiac or like Black Sheep or something, they'll ask us.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Man, I'm so disappointed that show at the Black Sheep got canceled. I was so excited for you guys.
I was incredibly excited too, but
That's a. I
it was
mean,
for the best looking
yeah.
back. I mean,
Yeah. Yes, I think it definitely was. It was at the very beginning of all of this, and people did not have a handle on how to do anything right. So it probably was, but it sucks. I was really excited to see you guys play that show, but all right. I think we're about good. You got anything at all you want to plug? I know not any shows, but you got music out there you want people to check out?
not at the moment. Really, all I could
Yeah.
say is keep an eye out at facebook.com/the short term. All one word, no punctuation. Whenever we have something coming out, it will appear on there.
Nice. Do you have a name for the EP that's going to be coming out yet?
Nothing yet, no.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe Briggs wanted to play kind of on the acronym aspect of our name. Like,
Oh, like another. What? Okay, hold on. Short term. First off, we kind of glossed over. It's short. It is the whole thing hyphenated, or is it just the short and then term is T? What does the term stand for?
what do you mean, dude? It's term.
Is it though? Because there are a lot of periods in that.
It's Tinder Epic Remedy Meetup.
Okay. That makes me uncomfortable. I don't know what it means. But, all right. Why are you blushing? What does it mean? All right. We're gonna leave it on that vagueness there. But yeah, keep a lookout for that EP, guys. The Short Term is an incredibly good band. You guys ever gonna find a bass player?
Probably not.
No.
I've been doing the bass and the recordings.
Yeah. But
they're unicorns.
they are. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. All of my social media bullshit's gonna be in the intro. And yeah, keep an eye out for that EP. All right. I love you. Goodbye.